The best way to start a conversation that's difficult to have is just to start it. There's no perfect way. There's also no perfect way to pay homage to an individual who you admire, who has inspired you in some way. Person that may have touched your life. There's no perfect words. There's no way to totally crystallize the moment. But we make our attempts because this is not about how eloquent you could speak. It's not about a punchy little statement you make. It's about the person that you're honoring, the person that you're respecting. You know, I wouldn't be telling you the truth if I told you I was a dear friend of Michael Brooks. It was not. In fact, Michael Brooks and I had somewhat of a contentious relationship in the beginning of it. Went on this show with Sam Cedar a few years ago, back when we were still bickering about 2016 and Hillary Clinton and the pragmatist, the jackass Hillary Clinton, and thus Bernie supporters who would die hard, and we couldn't let it go. We believed so strongly that the left was going too far into the camp of, well, let's get behind Hillary, that whole thing, and it was crazy. It was, people were losing their minds, and then I felt like at the time I had solidarity with certain folks, and I believed certain things. I still believe certain things, but you know, Michael Brooks and Sam Cedar, they let me call up on the show, and it didn't end well for me. Mike was funny, all right? Can I just say that? Can I say Mike was funny? So funny he got me in trouble because he made a comment about Susan Sarandon, and he did her voice. And I laughed. I had to laugh because Michael was funny. He said, it'll bring on the revolution. And it was the way he said, maybe Trump will bring on the revolution. He was taking a hit at Susan Sarandon. It was fun. It was hilarious. But I couldn't laugh because Susan Sarandon at the time, I couldn't. So Michael Brooks, he got me in trouble not only because I laughed, because other people heard me laugh, and then they made videos about me laughing about the joke Michael Brooks made about Susan Sarandon, and I'm there to defend the hardcore left that's still standing with Bernie and saying never Hillary. So, thanks, Mike. Know thy place. Know who you are. Be who you are. Michael Brooks knew who he was. No doubt about that. He knew who he was. He knew what he believed. And more importantly, he knew why he believed it. And he knew what he detested. More importantly, he knew why he detested it. See, some of us, we dislike things because it's what we think we need to do. Man was learned. I said learned. And I'll admit, man, I admire his attention to detail, his in-depth analysis, his way of getting to the crux of a matter, knowing the history. And I've always admired those people, man, who have that ability to just study and just know this stuff and be able to recite it on point. And yeah, it's not really my thing. I like facts, but sort of a, journeyman, so to speak. I'm a casual observer of things important, but say it with passion and conviction, and I believe in things very strongly, but I'm no Michael Brooks. I don't intend to be. I don't try to be. And you know what? To Michael Brooks, that was fine. More recently, we had buried the hatchet, so to speak, if there ever was one. I'm not suggesting that Michael Brooks walked around thinking about, what does Tim Black think about me? And I wonder how our relationship is. He's a very busy man doing a show, doing multiple shows, doing multiple things, fighting a good fight for the left, for disenfranchised people, not just in the United States, but all over the globe, speaking out on issues that mattered. And I went out the house. I went out the house today, right? I went fishing. Under the guidance of my friend Buck Bewley, supporter of my show, good friend. He said, Tim, you really need some time off. Like, you're right. So I invited on this little boat, couple guys, we could social distance, wear the mask, do the whole thing, but you got to get out the house. So I did that. And man, I'm telling you, I ain't as young as I used to be. I was tired. I was beat. Got home about 3, I don't know. Fell asleep. And woke up. It was just about time to do the show. About 9 something. About 9 o'clock I woke up. And I saw that Michael Brooks had passed. So I'm doing this show because Michael Brooks passed today. Because I could have very easily phoned this one in, guys. And I'm speaking about Michael Brooks because, not because he's trending on Twitter. He's been trending in our circle for years. Finally, Twitter caught up to the fact he was a phenomenal voice to the left. Courageous, willing to say things that others wouldn't say. No fear of the complications it may cause for a man not so young but not so old to have dreams of doing different things. Willing to risk all of that to tell the truth. So I'm glad they finally caught up and they give some type of acknowledgement to Mr. Brooks. You know, this moment, it gives me an opportunity to say and to look and to see that we're all very different people from very different walks of life. I listened to some tributes to Mike. I listened to a couple. I'm not many. And I realized I'm surrounded by very young people. Very young people from a very different experience. I'm very acquainted with death. I hear people talking about this as if, you know, of course it's shocking that it was Michael Brooks, but, I mean, the way I grew up, the way that I came up, and we saw death all the time, it's the struggle of inner city black folk where nothing's promised. If it's gun violence, drug violence, gang violence, neighborhood violence, but I get it. I get it. And what I'm saying is I listen to these younger people, mostly white people, younger white people, talk about Michael Brooks and how shocked they are at his death. And we don't know the causes. And if we did, I wouldn't tell you. Go find out on your own. It strikes me that it's important that I know my place. And it's important that we be who we are. And we speak with earnestly, sincerely, and from a place of realness. Because we all have a story to tell, and we can only tell it our way. And for Michael Brooks, and for the memory of Michael, I would just like to say that I see clearly now that we need to lean in further in who we are and exemplify that and stress that. So, hey, anybody out there reeling over Michael, I totally understand. Lives have been cut short. A life has been cut short. An important voice has been cut short, has been silenced. This is what happens. This is how it happens. And it's all about what we do when we're here. Mike was a hard worker. Yeah, you can be smart, you can be good, you can be talented, you can be wise, you can be bright, you can be a genius, but you got to work. Mike worked. I heard he was live streaming just last night. He worked. So, that's something to take away from this. And he touched millions of people. And I expect millions of more tributes and videos, views, and people will say things. I just want to say to his family, his friends, his co-workers, his colleagues, to the whole community of people on the left who truly represent the left, not the left they tell us that's the left, based on this fake paradigm of a narrative that they spin in corporate cable media. True left. Human rights, women's rights, voting rights, civil rights, workers' rights, environmental rights, justice. People who believe in those things from border to border, globally. We lost a good one. Now go out and honor that good one by creating more good ones. We're only here for a limited amount of time. Dr. Cornel West said, decide to do some good before the worms get you. And they gonna get you, so it's all about what you do before they do. Michael Brooks did the damn thing. My respect, my condolences once again to Michael Brooks. Don't be sad, don't be disappointed. Be happy and lucky and fortunate that you knew him. I'll be right back after this. R.I.P.